Hey everyone, it's Don. On this episode of The Naturalist, I'm in Long Beach, New York, and I'm going to do an episode on beach restoration following the damage after Superstorm Sandy devastated this area in 2012. So let's go take a look. So let me set the stage for you first. So Long Beach is on Long Island. It's technically an island. It's surrounded completely by water. Atlantic Ocean to the right of me, the bay to the left, but there is water completely surrounding Long Beach. So it's technically an island. It's like the southernmost point on Long Island, and it's the kind of the closest beach getaway, nice beach getaway to New York City. And in this area, as you see behind me, this area is well known for its huge boardwalk. It's several miles long. I don't even know how long it is. And a nice residential community. It's kind of a pleasant beach feel. And along the boardwalk, as you can see behind me and in front of me, there are lots of buildings. These are residential, apartments, condos. Some of these are retirement homes and things like that. You can see the boardwalk I'm walking on. Really nice shape. And of course the ocean out here. All right, in this kind of area, you can walk freely on the boardwalk and such, but to get out to the beach you need to have a pass that comes with living here or being a member or an associate of someone who lives here to get you access to the beach itself. And so at the moment I don't have the pass, so I will not be out there, although I'll get that later. So I'm going to focus on what we see in front of us here and where we're walking. So first of all, Superstorm Sandy in 2012 virtually leveled this area. It destroyed this boardwalk. It caused massive beach erosion out here. It flooded the town itself a great deal. I have a sister who lives here whose house bottom floor was entirely flooded, which led to her raising it one floor. Interesting, but it worked. So following those efforts, there was a massive project. I think it was about $130 million project to restore this boardwalk, rebuild this boardwalk, and also to restore the beach and the dunes that you see in front of me. All right, now when I used to come here, first came here 25, 30 years ago, the dune here was fairly well degraded. It was mostly sand. There weren't a great deal of plants there. And again, there wasn't a great deal of protection for this boardwalk area in the town because the dune had been largely, damaged by use and erosion. So one of the things that they did in this massive beach restoration project is to rebuild those dunes. You can see how elevated the sand is there. And you also see this protective wall that was built below me. Okay, so this dune and that wall and this boardwalk to some extent now serves as a seawall for the town. Okay, so it creates protection for surges from the ocean into town because it's very flat here. It's only in the middle of town there. It's only a few feet above sea level. So what they did then is they hauled in massive amounts of sand, soil and sand, and did a lot of replanting. Okay, so the shrubs you see in front of me there, those are bayberries, Myrica genus, the genus Myrica. A lot of dune grasses, okay, that have established well, and they built this, wooden seawall to hold the sand, catch the sand. Here's a spot here that looks like it got blown out a little bit where they replanted recently. So let's take a look at that. And you can just basically see how they have the grass planted in rows more or less. So right out in front of us was a little blowout area where for whatever reason the vegetation didn't hold, winds, water, what have you, created a gap there that they had to restore further. So this project, I think, was complete around 2019. Again, Sandy hit in 2012. So it was a several year project to get it underway and completed. But that's, you know, part of what they did. Simply replace sand, replant it. You can see out in front of me too, this is a big area right here where there's beach volleyball, designated for beach volleyball. Pretty awesome. It's a nice day. It's not too sunny, which is actually good because it's been really hot. That's keeping it a little cooler. There's a nice breeze out here, of course, with our ocean breezes blowing from the water inland during the day, which reverses overnight. So this is just a nice view of this restoration and the protection it now affords to Long Beach. Okay, and you can see, I mean, it should be pretty obvious that this is a heavily used area. I'm here on a Saturday, but there are people walking, running, biking, what have you, doing everything. It's a lot of fun. There are parks. This boardwalk is huge. This boardwalk is probably about 80 feet wide. All right, so I'll walk a little further and I'll catch you a little farther up the beach. I'm now on one of the bridges that crosses over the dunes from the boardwalk to the beach, just to get a little closer view of the dune restoration. So here's bayberry that I pointed out earlier. Okay, very common woody shrub in beach dune areas. There are a variety of grasses, well, at least a few species of grasses out there. I'm not sure what they are actually right now, but dune grasses, beach grasses would be native to this area, and the restoration appears to really have taken hold quite well. I mean, these things are doing very well. Things seem to be holding. Along with this dune restoration, they also made some efforts along the shore to capture sediments, okay, by building basically extensions, walls called groins out into the water that will catch sediments that are moving along the beach by the longshore current. So this current would be carrying sediments little by little in one direction or the other, and if you don't, those sediments never get caught and never get settled. They end up way down the other end somewhere, and your beach slowly erodes through that process. So you build these groins that extend out into the water, and they catch the sediment as it moves. And so I understand that they built several new groins, as they're called. I think that's what we're seeing out in front of us there, to help build the beach back. So this spot right here is fairly narrow. The beach is fairly narrow, but as I look farther up the beach, it's a lot wider. Here's a little closer view of the beach. Pretty, very fine, fairly white sands here. All right, and for me to get on the beach, I have to pass through that stand with a pass, which at the moment I don't have, so I won't be doing that right now. All right, let's go a little farther and see what else we can see. One thing to note about this boardwalk is it's not the kind of boardwalk you'd find in a place like Ocean City or Atlantic City. This is not a commercial boardwalk, it's a residential area. There are tourists here. There really aren't many restaurants or anything, bars and that sort of stuff here. This is the people out here, many of them would live in the area or be from not too far away. You don't have just the big hotels right on the beach focusing on tourists. This is a residential area, although it certainly gets visited plenty by tourists. But yeah, you just note that there's not really many bars, restaurants, those things along this boardwalk. So we'll keep walking. We're walking north. Obviously, I have the beach to my right. And we'll see what's happening up toward the end. Right behind me is the lifeguard headquarters here at Long Beach. And as I was looking around the area, I noticed a sign that's really interesting. This is a turtle nesting area. And right below the lifeguard headquarters, you can see an area where turtles nest and where they've hatched. There's all kinds of eggshells, turtle eggshells, scattered all around the beach here. I'm not sure what species, but from what I saw, kind of all the major North American, North Atlantic sea turtle species are here, like Kemp's Ridley and green and leatherback and all those sorts of things. So there certainly was a lot of egg laying. I'm not sure how many of these turtles survived, but there's a lot of eggshells out there in this particular spot. And it's right here in the midst of the public beach and the lifeguard and the boardwalk right there. And so, these things would have to take a journey across this sand and presumably get underneath the the boardwalks in places like that to make it out to the ocean. In places like this that are so public, there's probably a lot of public participation in helping aid that process to get those little things to the sea. But it's really nice to see. I don't remember ever seeing that or really learning much about that when I was here, years ago, because like I said, this area was much more degraded at that time. So I'm not sure how much of it happened, but that's really cool. Sea turtle nesting site right here underneath the lifeguard headquarters. Here's a historical marker describing the history of the boardwalk here at Long Beach. So it was started in 1907, to summarize. It's 2.2 miles long, 50 feet wide, and the idea was to bring tourists and call this the Riviera by the Sea for local New Yorkers. And so, they built up the area for, day tourists and those sorts of things. It eventually changed hands or changed management to the city of Long Beach in 1936. And then, the federal government came in at times to repair damage and rebuild and things like that. It says here that Robert F. Kennedy spoke on this boardwalk in 1964 as he campaigned. And otherwise, this place has been pretty much used as they had proposed. It's certainly well used today. It's an overcast day, which is fortunate because it would be boiling hot if it wasn't. But just thousands of people out here enjoying the day like I am. And, this kind of thing you normally don't have easy access to. And it's great. All right, so I think I'm going to conclude this segment of the episode here on the beach side, and take you over to the bay side and show you some highlights about bay ecosystems. All right, see you there. I've moved up the beach to the area of Lido Beach, which is between Long Beach and Point Lookout, and I'm in a passive conservation area, as they call it, a restoration area on the bay side of the island here. And so let's take a meander around and see what there is to see here at this conservation area. So here's the map. Okay, we are in the lower right center right now, and we're going to work our way around and look at a few things I highlighted here. There's observation platforms, there's a turtle nesting area right near where we are, and shellfish conservation areas and things like that. So let's take a walk. That's always a good idea. Again, we are now looking bayside. I see areas here, by the way, planted in these conservation areas, planted in the same kind of tall grass prairie species we would see in Ohio. I see big blue stem and Indian grass goldenrods, all kinds of things that are very commonly used in restoration plantings. Pretty widespread, but of course well known from Midwestern and Great Plains prairie areas. And around me I see lots of junipers, bayberries. Let's take a look. This is the observation trail, so I think it's just a little high point. If we can get above the shrubs. Yeah. Oh, that's not bad. Here's a nice view of the bay. You'll notice a lot of these channels all throughout the bay area. And those were basically there to help drain these areas, to make them as usable as possible for building or what have you. Of course, we don't want to drain these areas anymore, so they can function like natural wetlands. So yeah, this is a beautiful view. All right, so let's get down and closer to some of that action, see what we can see. Here we've gotten a little closer to the wetland. Just getting a view. Those are fairly short grasses, sedges and things out there in the very wet areas. Inshore here we have shrubs like this is winged sumac, a native plant. We have the ever-present non-native Phragmites that is the found on coastlines, you know, whether it's seashores or lake shores all over the globe, really, and some other non-natives. But there are lots of native plants here. There's some pines, okay, including pitch pines, red cedars, goldenrods, milkweeds. I've seen several monarch butterflies today, and I believe, which again won't show, straight out in the center of your view there is a nest stand, and I think there's an osprey sitting on it. I unfortunately left the binoculars in the car, so I can't confirm that, but that would be a kind of thing you'd see around here. Of course, there's terns and gulls and geese and all kinds of aquatic birds. I'm getting bitten by biting flies, need to move, but that's a little overlook. And so let's get down closer even to the wetland. Here's another spot that's apparently a turtle nesting area, so let's see if we can see evidence of that behind this fence. So these sort of things dug here into the sand. I see what appear to be some shell fragments, so it looks as though there was nesting here. Here we go. Oh, these are, okay, these are terrapins. All right, these are terrapins, diamondback terrapins. This is a terrestrial turtle, not a sea turtle. All right, and so they are under going some protection here. Okay, looks like they've succeeded. Very cool. Okay, you might know the Maryland terrapins. They're named after this thing right here. Pretty mighty, right? Imagine that thing dunking a basketball on somebody. So yeah, this area, and does it again, it looks like there was success. These pits look as though they were turtle nesting sites. So very cool. Maybe we'll see one. That'd be awesome. Okay, we're going to take a wetland walk, and let's see what we can see out this little spot. Now we're getting low. Okay, we're getting more or less at the level of the sedge meadow out there. Little pleasure boats and fishing boats heading out into the bay. Later, we'll take a tour out there. You can hear I'm right next to the highway that runs the whole length of this spit of land, okay, between Long Beach and Lido Beach and Point Lookout. All right, I'll catch you up ahead. In front of me, about 40 feet, are a set of 3 egrets picking their way around the marsh here. With an osprey on a platform just behind. This is a residential area on the bay side. See all these little personal docks in the bay. Ended up going out there last evening. I was planning to film, but it got too dark before I got out there. So with this as my backdrop, I'm going to conclude this episode of The Naturalist from Long Beach, New York. And so until next time, this is Don signing out. Bye-bye.